the vital power of being an ally to others. Also, together we form a powerful Jewish-Catholic bond of guilt that no therapist can ever sever. Finally, I'm especially honored, Blue, to receive this doctorate alongside you. You and Yitz have been teachers and role models for me for almost my entire adult Jewish life. I hope that this is now a sufficiently post-feminist moment for me to share that one of the most heavily marked pages of any book in our home is in fact page 488 of How to Run a Traditional Jewish Household. Your cholent recipe, which people have been enjoying at my Shabbat table for more than 25 years. In accepting this honor, I feel, of course, that I do so also on behalf of the many, many, many people who have helped to build Hazon. And I'm thrilled that Cheryl Cook, Hazon's longtime COO, now herself the executive director of Avodah, could be here today, to some extent standing in for so many others whom I would wish to thank. I feel especially honored that this degree is from JTS. When I came to New York as an English Jew, truthfully, I had no real sense of JTS. Today, mamash lahefach, exactly the opposite. I see on an almost daily basis the enormous role that JTS alumni play in leading Jewish institutions the length and breadth of this country. Those of you who teach those students, and those of you who make the gifts that pay for the teachers, the programs, the buildings, the utility bills, you do immense mitzvahs day after day. Thank you for sustaining this great institution. For me, JTS embodies core principles that I deeply respect and which lie at the heart of Hazon. Two in particular. First, we cannot begin to make claims about the necessity of Jewish tradition if we are not directly engaging the most critical issues of our time. We literally cannot do it. We cannot do it morally and we cannot do it practically. And for me and for so many of us, the challenge of sustainability is foremost amongst them. And secondly, and happily, it transpires that when we do bring the forces of Jewish tradition to bear on these great contemporary questions, we discover that the tradition has depth and relevance that may have lain dormant for many centuries and which suddenly sprouts forth in fresh soil. Today, the world needs Shabbat, and the world needs Shemitah, and the world needs Kashrut. JTS encapsulates this process of necessary renewal and reframing in so much of what you do. It is why I'm delighted but not surprised that JTS has become one of the strongest institutions within Hazon's Jewish Greening Fellowship Network. You have a strong green team. You've eliminated plastic in the dining hall. You have a rooftop garden. There is composting on the dorms. List fellows in Jewish social entrepreneurship have played a significant role at Hazon. Aliyah Vinokor has been a significant leader. Dr. Shuli Schwartz has been an active supporter. Dr. David Kramer has done important work on food and Jewish tradition. And I'm particularly honored that David Huffman is here today. David rode in Hazon's very first New York Jewish environmental bike ride, which ended on the steps of the seminary in 2001. So thank you for striving to model the values that I care about, that Hazon has worked for, and that religious institutions the world over need right now. To sum up, I think that JTS represents some of the greenest Jews in America since our ancestors first arrived in the Lower East Side. And this is important. Yes, took a moment there. And this is important because there is so much more that we have to do. Rosh Hashanah this year is the day after the end of the Shemitah year, so it marks the start of a new 7-year cycle in Jewish life. Can I just have a glass of water, please? Can I just, I'm drying out. Rosh Hashanah this year is the day after the Shemitah year, so it marks the start of a new 7-year cycle in Jewish life. Yom Kippur, just 10 days into that new 7-year cycle, turns out to be the day that Pope Francis will be addressing the US Congress. He's due to speak at the United Nations here in New York the next day. When he speaks, he will do so not only in the name of Catholic tradition, but to some extent on behalf of all of the world's religions, about the need to curb greenhouse gases, the need to help poor countries protect themselves against climate-related hazards, the need for all of us, in a sense, to do tshuva. Given the conjunction of timing, what will our rabbis preach this Yom Kippur? What should they say? What could they say? What will the world look like in 2022 at the end of the next Shemitah cycle? What will JTS look like? How will the Jewish people have helped to create a more sustainable world for everybody? These are not rhetorical questions, they're real ones, and deeply challenging to all of us. We don't have great answers, and we don't have easy answers. But what we do have is the daily work, the integration of learning and doing, the balance of vision and practicality, satisfaction and self-critique. We may feel that we don't have enough weapons to tackle the great challenges we face. But as Doctor Who once put it, and very appositely in this place and time, you want weapons? We're in a library. Books, the best weapons in the world. And this leads me to a last few words of Torah, on one foot, or is it maybe, perhaps in my case, on one wheel. Today's commencement exercises prompted me to think about the nature of leaving a cloistered space of learning and re-entering reality. It struck me that in the temple, the holy priest was instructed to wash his hands, not only before entering the Holy of Holies, but also when he came out again afterwards. This is our tradition teaching not only that sacred space is holy, which we might assume to be obvious, but also, and somewhat less obviously, that it is equivalently holy to bring that sanctity back into normal life. This is consonant, of course, with the Rambam's understanding of why the Nazirite brings a sin offering upon his return. So our challenge is to take the Kedusha of this beautiful day and to maintain it when the caps and gowns have gone back on the shelf. Reflecting on this added a new dimension to one of my favorite teachings, something I heard from Reb Shlomo Carlebach, Zichrono Livracha, in the summer of 1994, and which has become Hazon's theme quote. He said, "The Torah is a commentary on the world, and the world's a commentary on the Torah." I've shared this teaching many times before, but only in preparing for today, and on the eve of Shavuot, did a new aspect of it occur to me. If what Reb Shlomo said is true, then when we accept the Torah, we are also in some sense accepting the world itself, accepting both our capacity to change it and also our obligation on the eve of this new 7-year cycle to sanctify and to protect it. This is, of course, an awesome responsibility. It engenders in me many of the things I'm feeling right now, in equal parts commitment, trepidation, and some sense of inadequacy. So I'm honored to receive this degree and happy to share these thoughts with all of you here today. As someone once said, if life doesn't scare you, you're not doing it right. Or as Doctor Who once put it, do what I do, hold tight, and pretend it's a plan. Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach, and thank you very much indeed.
Dessert will now be served.